Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rising Stories Podcast. I'm Corrine Sandifer, your host. Each week, I interview a business owner or author, and here on Rising Stories, we chat about building our businesses and working like a boss and slaying our tasks that we have to do each day. You'll learn about the best apps, how these business women are making it work, and all about the best tools and practices that they're using. And because this show is called Rising Stories, my guests usually share an everyday story that is sure to touch your heart and soul. And we also hit on topics like work-life balance, living with intention, and dreaming big. Before I introduce you to my guest today, I would love it if you would connect with me on social media. I am on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and Facebook. All under Corrine Sandifer. On Facebook, I have this great group called Soul Care for the Business Owner. So I would love it if you would connect with me there or on my business page, which is at Corrine Sandifer. So look that up. But the main place that I absolutely love to connect with people, and I usually find my guests there. So if you have a guest suggestion, go on Instagram and tag me on their post or on their page, because that's kind of how I connect with people. I love to see what they're doing, and if it catches my eye, I ask them on the show. So connect with me on Instagram on at Corrine Sandifer, and I love doing those Insta stories, so I hope you're watching. Also, if you don't mind, heading over to iTunes and leaving me a review, because that's how we get the word out about this podcast. I would love it if you would share it with a friend on Facebook or Instagram. My guest today is Yolanda Harris Jackson. She is an author, speaker who, after 18 years in the spa, beauty, and wellness industry, became a licensed pastor. And she is now working alongside her husband with Live in Peace Ministries, helping marriages thrive in this chaotic world. Yolanda and I chat about how to be intentional in your marriage and the best time to talk to your spouse. But then we totally go off topic and talk about kombucha tea. So this is sure to be a fun episode, so you don't want to miss it. Here is my conversation with Yolanda. Hi, Yolanda.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome to Rising Stories Podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Green.
Yeah, you and I met at a women's event, and we've talked, and I'm glad that we have finally connected on here, and you can share your story with us, because it is a great story. You have so much going on in your life. You were chair of CABLE, which is a women's organization connecting women and opportunity here in town in Nashville. And how long ago was that?
Yes, that was, I would say about 3 years ago, I chaired CABLE. It was a great opportunity. Over 500 women are members of that organization. So it was such a great opportunity to lead these women in their missions and their purposes, as well as be a place for to ignite their development as leaders in our community. So it was a great opportunity.
That is great. Yeah. So we're kind of in the same line of work, because I help women as well and empower women with this podcast and with my business. And it's very rewarding, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It definitely is. The biggest thing that I would say too is that it's so rewarding just to see the women grow from one place to the next, whether it's in promotion on their jobs, with their families as mothers, or even as community leaders, to see them gain new position or transition from one career to the next, which it was huge for CABLE.
Yeah, that is big. When you are moving, when you're a woman and you've got different seasons of life, and you're moving from one season to the next, or you're transitioning from one job to another, you need that support group. Definitely.
That's right.
You need that support group. Yeah. Well, and so now you and your husband have started a business and a ministry. So they kind of go hand in hand. And tell me more about that.
It is called Live in Peace Ministries, LLC. And we are a marriage ministry that really focuses on strengthening marriages because we know that no matter really where the broken pieces have fallen, we want you to know that you still can have peace with God. And the fact that you can move on no matter what your situation looks like now, no matter what you've already come through, you can have the peace, the joy that you so desire right now in your marriage.
That is really good. I bet y'all have a lot of people that are wanting that because, marriages, they ebb and flow, as the years go by, and sometimes you're really needing that extra help. You're
That's
needing
right.
someone to just guide you through, and you have seminars, you have courses, online courses, and you do webinars. Tell me about these webinars that you're doing.
Yes. So the webinars we usually do them actually on Tuesday nights and some Thursday nights. So via social media, that's kind of how we get the word out about the webinars, and people sign up for them on various topics regarding communication, intimacy, all those things we deal with in marriage. And once you say, I do, and get into the reality of it all, it's always good to have some kind of guide that you can form and frame to your situation. So we do these 60 to sometimes 90-minute webinars where Q&As are involved for our followers and our audience, and that you could sign up for. And they're always ongoing webinars that we offer.
And so when people get on, and is it just the wife or just the husband or both? I mean, is there a requirement?
In many cases, it is the wife that gets on. It seems like the wives are the first one to say, I'm going to check this out. Then I'm going to tell my husband about it.
There you go. Yeah.
Which is always great because we have such great influence in the home. Let's just be honest about it.
Absolutely.
We make a lot of the buying decisions.
Yes.
And we're very influential in that sense. So a lot of the wives partake in it first. But however, we have had a great amount of men to participate as well. So you'll have a husband and wife that's on the line together doing the class together, which would be the ideal, of course, situation. And then you'll have women who are wives that participate. And then you have maybe some men that the wives are not there who participate in it. So we do have variety. But not the less, though, we do have some single women that join the webinars. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Is
and many
just wanting to know what's going on, like how to be, how to be prepared,
yes.
I guess.
Yes. So many of the women want to know, what does marriage look like godly, a godly marriage look like? Because that's really what we is our testimony and what we promote. And so they want to know what that looks like. What did it take? What are some of the pitfalls so they can be prepared and ready, and get themselves in position for a godly marriage.
Yeah, but that's smart. I mean, I think that's smart for them to be doing that. Yeah, absolutely. And so let's say I'm in your webinar. How does that look? Do they just really share a lot? Like they're sharing their lives with you guys on these webinars?
Well, what we do in our webinar setting, because it's a more so group setting, we do it via Zoom. So that way they're seeing my husband and I live. So they see us on camera and they also see our slides. So it's very interactive. So they communicate via chat. So the chat is streaming and we are talking and they're agreeing or asking questions via the chat. It's a very interactive and fun place to learn. So we're teaching the tips and the tools and the strategies, and they're taking notes and asking questions. So that's how the interactive piece is. Sometimes though, sometimes they'll share little situations in their question, and then we'll help break that down for them. But if it's something too detailed, we speak to them offline regarding their specific situation.
Okay, so they don't all have to. Yeah, so you're not going on Zoom, everybody's seeing each other, and then saying, dogging on their husband, or the wife's, or the husband saying, you don't clean the house, or you don't, whatever.
Oh, no.
You're
actually, it's a very which is probably reality in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It really is. But the thing about it is an opportunity for them to be in a positive, safe environment to learn. and it's
Yeah.
an intimate environment to learn. So no, they're not other cameras on where they're looking at each other's, because that's distracting as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when we teach, they only see us and they only
Gotcha.
see our slides, and then but they do see the comments from others. So sometimes those questions they have help them feel a place of comfort that they're not alone. And
Mm.
that's important.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
that's true. Yes, because
mhm.
that's I think that's the main thing that young couples when they get married and they find that they're having issues or trouble,
Mhm.
I don't think they realize that it's a lot of them are common and
Yes,
that the next person that they're seeing that maybe they think, "Oh, that couple over there is got it all together."
that's
And
right.
they have the best marriage. Well, you're looking at what you see when they're putting a good face on and when they're out in
Yes,
public. They don't you don't see that
right.
they're arguing about the littlest things or, having the same issues that you're having. And that's comforting and um it also does kind of give you hope to want to try and work on your marriage to say, well,
That's right.
if everybody's having this problem, I want to be the, I want to be the success story.
That's right. Because it's
So,
so worth fighting for. It is
mhm.
so worth fighting for. And if you leave with nothing else, we just want, your listeners to know that your marriage is so worth fighting for.
And I like that you have the 3 secrets to overcoming communication breakdowns in your marriage.
Hmm.
That's really cool. It's a 60-minute course that you have, and uh, tell me more about that course.
Yes, absolutely. So that's one of our what we call signature courses. So we want to make sure you can identify the areas that are breaking down in your communication, and then we also want you to know, how you can overcome those. So we really break down what communication looks like in a marriage. So just say, for instance, you're trying to get clarification on your feelings of something that hurt you in the past. We actually teach you a practical way to have that conversation with your spouse that hasn't always listened to you,
Mm-hmm.
or listened to the way you come across to them. We give you different secrets, which
Mm-hmm.
are three
Mm-hmm.
of them that we give you that are very practical that you can immediately put into place. And we make sure that you stay away from the pitfalls that would easily retract your spouse into that place of danger where they won't receive what you're trying to tell them. So in this seminar, you'll be able to leave with those practical tips that, we call them secrets, because a lot of people don't think about. Sometimes it's the simplest things that we know we should be doing, that we ignore or don't do. And sometimes, let me be honest with you, there are some things that we do on our jobs and in our positions, that we actually do as a leader on our jobs. Just say if you're a leader in corporate America or a leader on your job, there's certain things you do to communicate to your boss, to what we call manage up and to manage down. So some of those same skills are used in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to the point at times where we don't utilize those skills because we're so lax when we get home. We're so routine when we get home. They should know me by now. I could just let my guards down. And yeah, let your guards down, but also know this is another human being, another spirit you're
Right,
speaking
right.
to.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's just as simple, I think. I mean, I'm imagining that, one of the things that I remember just from, we had like premarital counseling, and I think we went through like a weekend getaway where we learned, tips and stuff. And I'm always, wanting to improve. But I remember there was one that talked about, don't talk about things when the other person is really tired and you know that they're tired.
That's right.
I mean,
That's right.
that's just
That's
like
right.
and that's the same thing, like you said, exactly what you
Mhm.
would do with your boss. You would
That's
not
right.
talk to them about a raise if you knew that they were having a bad day or that they were
That
tired.
exactly.
Or it's a Monday and you knew he went to a concert the night before.
That's right. That's right.
You're not going to do that. So you're going to
You're
wait
not going to
until
do
the
that.
best possible time. So if you're wanting that conversation, to be successful, you're not going to have it when they're in poor health or tired or grumpy or grouchy. And so, pick your times. Pick your
Absolutely. And
times.
what about this, Kareen? What about and you're on your job? Don't you set meetings up? Don't you schedule time with people?
Oh,
And don't you
yeah.
give them some subject line or some
Yeah.
kind of insight of why you're meeting, want to meet with them?
Yes, I
It's the
love
same thing in your,
that.
yes, it's the same thing in your marriage. You need to set a meeting with
Yeah.
your spouse. Set
Mm-hmm.
some time up. And even if you're not like, well, I'm not the detail meeting person, but nothing matters most if you would just let your spouse know, hey, on Thursday, let's
Mm-hmm.
chat about this at 7 o'clock. And we can
Yeah.
deal with, that subject of our finances, and that way your spouse has time to prepare for it and not be caught off guard. Because many times when
Mm-hmm.
we're caught off guard, we get into defensive mode and that causes arguments,
Right.
right?
And
So it's the same thing.
absolutely. I remember having a conversation with a young married couple. They were about 10 years behind. They're about 10 years behind us. And I remember something happened and the wife turned to me and she was like, "See, do you see what just happened and how he treated me?" Da da da. And she wanted to say something right then and there and I'm like, "No. Just wait. And why don't you talk about it maybe like you're on the road, you're traveling, you're going home, you got the
Hmm.
radio on, things are nice, and just kind of bring it up and go, when you shared that, you said that to me, I kind of that hurt my feelings or whatever. But
Hmm.
he's out of the heat of the moment. And
Hmm.
like you said,
Hmm.
you pick your
That's
times
right.
and schedule them. That's great. I love
That's
that.
right.
So you've got, yeah, lots of wisdom you guys are doing and having for these couples. I think that's awesome. So tell me about your own marriage and, what do you guys do on a weekly basis that helps um, kind of nurture your marriage?
Well, we had to, of course, grow into that. We both have had very demanding positions outside of the home that have taken our time. So we are very intentional, especially now that we've come through such trying times and tests through our marriage. We have been very intentional on spending quality time together. Hence, my husband's love language is quality time. So I have to make sure we're intentional on that. And also, just spending that time just together is very important. So on a weekday, for instance, we love movies. So we go always and have dinner and a movie because that's just
Mm-hmm.
our thing. And
Yeah.
even if it's not, your thing, you find what it is that you and your spouse enjoy. Now, you may say, well, I enjoy doing going for a walk, but he wants to go to Lowe's and hang out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that's the case, you have to put the interests of your spouse before yours in some situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't a movie goer as much until I met my husband because he loved movies. But now I really enjoy them. It's our time together. We talk about the movies and the actors and et cetera and the lessons in the movies most times, but dinner and a movie is really our thing, as well as worshiping together on Sundays, being and making that our family day. We're very intentional about that. And even times when we just have spur of the moment opportunities, like this week, we're going to Atlanta just together.
Nice.
So take out times to get away with each other and be spontaneous at times, be unexpected. And that just always keeps that fire burning in your marriage.
Yes, I love Atlanta. I think you'll
Yeah.
love it. I mean, I'm sure you've been there before. But what is your favorite Nashville restaurant?
I would say right now, my favorite place is a local place where we live, and it's called Lost Cajun. It's called Lost Cajun. And Lost Cajun is, of course, New Orleans inspired. The guy moved here from New Orleans, I think after Katrina,
Hmm.
and opened up this restaurant. And it really is one of a kind in the Nashville area and in our area. So it's right outside of Nashville, about 20 minutes, but it's called Lost Cajun. And they have catfish, whitening fish. They have the most delicious gumbo. I'm just like a
Mm.
gumbo fan.
I'm looking for a good gumbo. I love gumbo.
Yes. Yes, you'll love it.
And
You'll love
etouffee,
it.
do they have? Is that the same thing?
Yes.
No, that's not the
Yeah. No,
same
it's
thing. It's
different.
different.
It's
Yeah, I
different,
love
but
both of
it's so
those.
good. They have it
Is it
there.
spicy? Is it a little spicy, or can you add some
Yes.
spice to
It's
it?
not, nothing like a good kick. Of course, they can
Mm.
do a little more, but it gives you automatically that kick that you need. And then they have the best beignets to top it all off.
Oh no, really? Oh, I'm gonna have to
Yes.
try that. I
Yes.
love that place. Yum, already. I'm going to have to check it out. Yeah. So, what 3 things are you absolutely loving these days, Yolanda?
Well, right now, just in our life, we're really focused on the health, the whole health of us individually, as my husband and I are.
Mm-hmm.
So we are experimenting with different things regarding health wise. But because my husband lost, Corinne, I don't even know if I told you this, he lost 105
Oh
pounds.
my goodness, that's a lot.
That's part of our
Wow.
journey.
That's
Yes, part of our
amazing.
Absolutely. So we wrote a little bit about it in our new book that we have out. But yeah, he lost 105 pounds. So with that being said, we try to help other people in what we do. So right now we're trying out different salads. So he eats salads. He has a strict routine. So he eats salads for lunch and primarily for dinner. He
Mm-hmm.
may add a protein with it for dinner, but most of all he eats salads. And so I've been trying to mix it up a little bit for him. So he's now adding, he eats mostly a kale salad. So I really love making my own dressings using just kale.
Hmm.
So I love enjoying that. So I use like turmeric and apple cider vinegar and garlic, fresh garlic. So it's really, really good. So we experiment with that with our food. So that's what I'm really enjoying right now is, making sure that this whole health is fun and not
Mm-hmm.
feels like punishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I love food, right? So
Right.
because I love food and we love doing that as part of our date night and our marriage experience, I want to make sure I enjoy it. So we do that. And I also love like kombucha tea is my favorite now. So
Oh.
really enjoy kombucha tea. And so anyway, so that's one thing I really love right now. Um and time with our kids, of course, is another thing that we do, just spending time with them every Sunday. We have Sunday dinner. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's the small things, because we're so driven by technology now and everybody's schedule,
Yes.
really enjoy spending time with them. And it's not just our kids and my husband and I, it's also my parents. His parents live out of town. So my parents, specifically my mother, cooks Sunday dinner every single Sunday. And
Wow.
we go, yes, and we go there every single Sunday and have an entire spread that feels like Thanksgiving. So when Thanksgiving come around, it's just really
It's
another
just
Sunday
another
dinner.
Sunday dinner with turkey. Wow. I love that. I had some friends growing up and they always had a big Sunday dinner. So when you say Sunday dinner, is it more like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? Kind of in the
No.
middle of the day? No. Is it later or it's dinner?
Yeah, it's dinner.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
my
dinner.
mom, yeah, we try to get her to eat earlier, but she's like, it's dinner. We need to have it at dinner. So
She's like, I said dinner.
yeah, it's
It's not
usually six
brunch.
o'clock,
Yeah. So six
So
o'clock.
we
Yeah.
go home, we take a nap after church and then we go to have Sunday dinner with them. So just enjoy Sunday dinner, the whole health life experience, and reading is my other thing right now. So
What are
spend a
you
lot
reading
of
these days?
well, of course, we are in the love and relationships and marriage arena. So
Mm-hmm.
my whole library is consumed of great books on the connection of the human being
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how that works. So one of my favorite books on marriage as well too is by John and Lisa Bevere, and it's called The Story of Marriage. And so they
Okay.
have a great book that came out, I think, a year or so ago. And it's a great book by John and Lisa Bevere. So I really enjoy reading those books. Also love, different books that give you date night ideas.
Mm.
Because sometimes you want to shake it up a little bit. Sometimes people are just like, well, we do the same thing all the time. Well, there are books out there, there are websites, and, things that you can download to help give you those date night ideas for your marriage and relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good. I'm gonna have to check this book out. And your book, you just finished writing a book called I Thee Wed, and
Yes.
uh, everyone should go to your website and check it out because you can get a free chapter of your books, which is a free thing. That's a pretty cool thing.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Yolanda, for coming on and sharing your story with us. And
Mm-hmm.
we didn't talk, we ran out of time, but we didn't talk much about you and your husband. But it sounds like y'all have some great wisdom for
Mm-hmm.
uh, what you're providing these people, these married couples and people that are thinking about getting married.
That's right.
You've got an array of courses and webinars and classes that you can offer, and you also you're on Facebook. So thanks so much for joining us today, and
absolutely
many blessings to you guys.
Thank you so much, Corrine, for having me. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Yolanda is an awesome lady. She has such a passionate heart for marriages, so dedicated to helping others succeed. So don't forget to download those free chapters, and I'll provide a link on the show notes at CorrineSandifer.com. If you missed something else that you wanted to jot down from this episode, no worries, because I have added a whole lot to the iTunes description down below on the app, and it's also on the show notes at CorrineSandifer.com. Please consider supporting Rising Stories podcast by purchasing books and products mentioned on the show with the link provided in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and keep rising in your own story.